I just want to see what you're worth. Do you even know your worth? A lot of people don't. So let's jump right into it. So, knowing your worth and knowing when to walk away. This has been something I wanted to talk about for a minute, right? Um, there were some colleagues and we were sitting around talking about this because she quit a very lucrative job, but her worth was not being seen and she was not valued. So, what would you do if you know your worth, but you weren't being valued? Not just looked over, but you weren't being heard, you weren't being recognized, even though everything you brought to the table was used, glorified, even raved about from the higher up, but it was never directed back to you that, oh, so and so came up with this. Oh, yeah, so and so ran those numbers. Oh, yeah, so and so was over that project. She made sure it happened under budget, stay within scope, everything. What would you do? What would you do if you were not valued in your entity, by your residents, by your PD, APD director, DIO, COO, CMO? What would you do? Would you stay or would you leave? This hit on so many levels for me. So many levels because I I just felt terrible, terrible. Um, so I had to ask the GME community, what would you do? Do you know your worth? Is your peace of mind of not being worthy important to you? What would you do? It was kind of like a loss of words for me. So, would you find the encouragement within yourself to leave the table where respect was no longer being served to you? And once again, I had on one of my episodes, I talked about, the analogy of if someone served you a plate of food on a dirty dish, would you still eat it? Similarly, if you were aware that your job, your duties, why, let me repeat this so you can understand what I'm saying. So you know your job, you know your duties, you know your skills, you know what you know. But now you have to endure disrespect, neglect, talking down to. What would you do? What if your knowledge and your contributions were never acknowledged? Do you think they even deserve acknowledgement, right? Do you? If you found yourself in that situation where you're not feeling valued, or, you know, the attempts are not even being addressed, the issues, that you've raised with the higher up, with leadership, if they just seem futile, it may be time to walk away. Your peace of mind is too precious. And I'll say this, for me, it would be time for me to walk away. If I'm going to my DIO, my director, my chain of command, and I'm not being heard, I feel like, oh, you're listening, but it's not going in the ears, just bouncing off and, you know, going the other way. But you want me to work hard. Oh, but you want me to meet these deadlines. Oh, but you're adding more work to me. Oh, so you want me to do this and all of it, everything else and go above and beyond. I know my worth. I'm okay with walking away because at the end of the day, jobs are plentiful. I can get another job. You know, I have a career within myself that I've built, that I've maintained. So I can get that again, but I'm not going to be disrespected. I'm willing to walk away. I know my worth. My peace of mind is too precious to for that all of that. You know, I'm not going to eat off that dirty plate, right? I will reflect on what truly matters to me, right? And if that doesn't align with what they're offering or what they're communicating to me or the lack of, then I'm willing to walk away. But everybody has to decide that for themselves. So before you, for yourself, can make that decision, because it's going to impact you significantly, right? You can go and try to communicate your needs, right, to your higher ups, your director, your DIO, and clearly communicate and give experiences and details, right? Not just keep your feelings out of it, keep strictly professional and work related. Focus on evidence rather than emotions. Never talk with your emotions. Present the facts, the evidence, nothing but the facts, and keep it there. When you get emotional, when you're talking, because it is an emotional thing, right? Because you're feeling hurt. You're feeling like you're not being heard. And you're not. So that hurts. But you have that where that EI comes in, your emotional intelligence, you have to keep it under wrap. You have to stay professional, right? But when you focus on evidence rather than your emotions, state your facts, and it should be clearly, stated. But if there's no positive change, if it doesn't materialize, if they say, you know what, come into the office, let's talk about this. If there's nothing there and they're not giving you anything, don't hesitate to don't hesitate to start your own table. Sometimes you have to bring out a folding chair, and put that tablecloth over it until you can get you a glass table or a 10-foot table with 10 chairs, But there's a space for everybody, a space where your skills, your dedication, your education, your knowledge, your leadership, where it's valued, it's recognized, it's appreciated, and it's valued. I believe that the GME community works so hard in our programs for our residents, for our faculty, for the program, for our hospital, where we need to be appreciated. I never want to be at a place where I'm giving my all and it's not appreciated. It's either taken for granted or they just don't care, right? So I will go to my director. I will hear out what is said. And like I said, if there's no positive change, okay, I got the materials in my shed to make my own table. I will carve it out of wood, sand it down, stain it, polish it, and make it brand new. You have to think we've done that too many times anyway. Not with, starting over, but with starting over. We've done that within our programs, right? We know how to make something out of nothing. But you have to know your worth and when it's time to walk away. And I say that to say this: you never want to be devalued. right? And this took my colleague to the edge of constantly being devalued, not listened to, not respected, not heard, no reply, no follow up. This is what's going on, and nothing was ever said, mentioned. No, yeah, didn't feel valued at all. To the point where she was like, it's not even worth it anymore. So, yeah, no, don't end your life or what you got going on for a job. You have to know your worth enough. My grandmother taught me my worth centuries ago, decades ago. So I knew my worth, my mother at a very, very, very young age. I know my worth. No, that's not gonna happen. I'll speak up for myself. Oh, you're not gonna listen? Okay. I will make sure I am heard. If it's not here, somewhere else. And not always in a bad way, you know, but you never want to lose yourself or lose your worth from someone else's, perspective. When they demean you so much where you feel worthless, right? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure if you know your worth is here and they're coming to you on this level, always stay at the level that you know you are. Always take the high road. Never stoop down to their level. Especially, never think about taking your life or what you have going on and ending it for a job. You're worth way too more than that, right? So know your worth. Know that you're worth it. Knowing your worth is not just about like the self-respect. It's about creating an environment that fosters growth and success. When you know your worth and you know your contributes to your program, the hospital, when you know that it's invaluable, it's time to ensure it is celebrated. You know what you bring to the table. You know leadership skills. You may give webinars, conference talks. That's valuable, not just inside of your organization, but outside as well. So know your worth enough to be like, I've contributed it. A mentor, when you're a mentor, celebrate everything that you do. I remember reading on LinkedIn the other day, someone was putting their accolades out there and was like, oh, I really didn't know if I wanted to do it because I already did this, but I got this now. And, but we always should pat ourselves on the back for all the hard work that we do. We do so much in the GME community that if you don't recognize your work and celebrate your accolades, sometimes no one will. And it's not boasting and bragging. I think that's what she said. I didn't want to feel like I was boasting and bragging. You're not. You're not boasting and bragging. You know why? Because you started something, you finished it, you accomplished it, and it's something to celebrate. So it's time to ensure that we celebrate every accomplishment we have, every contribution that we put into our program, into yourself. Celebrate your growth. Celebrate your professional growth. Anything that you have done to better your program, yourself, especially yourself. Any step that you have taken on a professional growth, on a learning growth, personal growth, any growth that you have done, celebrate it. Let no one take that from you because that is yours. You own it and they can't take it. You went to school. You got your bachelor's. That's yours. They can't take that from you, no matter if you leave. If you got a certificate in, like recently, I did the black belt. No one can take that from me. It's mine. I'm going to celebrate that. That was work, hard work, but I got through it and it's mine. It is mine to take with me, to value for me, and celebrate that. So celebrate all of your accomplishments, all of your growth, all of any accolades you have, celebrate it. Don't feel like you're boasting. Don't feel like you're bragging. Don't feel like you're throwing it up in anyone's face because you worked hard to get that accomplishment. Value that. Know that you are worth it. Know that you are worth bragging about it. Know that you are worth putting it out there. Know that you are worth telling everybody about it, right? Because you worked hard for it. Period, point blank. If you don't put it out there, who's going to know? And you're worth it. You're worth it. Know your worth. Know when to back up from the table and walk away. Sometimes leaving that table that's of disgust and going to another table, you see how much cleaner the other table is. You're like, why did I sit in that filth for so long? Right? You at a whole nother pretty table. It's clean, it smells good, your food is better. Why did you sit in filth for so long? Why did you eat off that dirty plate? I don't know. Or you just thought that was your only choice? Why? You have skills, you have knowledge. You've grown professionally. So move from the dirty table and go to the clean table. Right? You're worth eating at a clean table. No one should sit in filth and eat a $100 plate meal on a dirty table. I know I'm not going to eat no surf and turf on no dirty table. I'm not even going to eat surf and turf at a buffet. So I'm going to take my surf and turf at a fine dining. Okay. So, because I know my worth is worth it. I'm worth going to that fine dining. I'm worth sitting at a clean table that's going to have clean utensils that I can use. Why? Because I ensured myself, for me, not for anybody else, for me, that I could sit at the table. And you can't take that away. If I haven't stressed it enough, please know your worth. Know that you are worth it. Know that you are worth whatever you put into yourself, you are worth taking it out, right? You are worth saying, you know what? I'm not going to sit at this table. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all. But if you don't know your worth, no one else will. And that's just the truth of it. So let no one take your worth away from you. Know it, own it, and let everyone else know what your worth is. Okay? So with that being said, I will leave you on this episode and I will see you in the next.